Breaking news, Columbia Green Federal Credit Union just saved our member $105 a month on their car payment.
That's no surprise. CGFCU helps our members save thousands.
Wait, thousands?
Yep, we have fantastic rates and flexible terms.
We save our members by refinancing autos, boats, campers, and even credit cards.
Apply today, see how much you can save.
All right, welcome back to Hudson Valley 360's The Press Box, presented by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union. This week, Justin Perico is going to be sitting in with us. He's seen quite a bit of basketball this season. We're at the midway point, so we're going to do a little bit of a mid-season report on the girls, boys basketball teams. But let's get right into it. Mid-season MVPs. You guys have anybody that jumps out at you?
Justin, we'll start with you.
I have to go with Russ Beck. If you look at the body of work that he's had this season, by far and away, there's nobody else who is more valuable to their team in terms of on the offensive and defensive end. If you take away Russ Beck from the kind of kills Titans, it's difficult to see where their season is right now. They're hovering around 500 thanks to Russ Beck.
No question.
And, I mean, the kid is averaging over 20 points a game in the top 25 of all of Section 2 in scoring. Very, very difficult to sit there and say, how is Russ Beck not in your top 3 for MVP this year?
No question. All good points. I mean, you go Russ Beck, you got Cole Ackerman from Greenville, Justice Brantley from Catskill. Those were the 3 kids we kind of focused on at the beginning of the season. And through the midseason, hard to argue against those being the top 3 candidates. Again, I agree wholeheartedly with what you said, Justin. Russ Beck is one of those types of kids that you take him off the team and you wonder what would become of that team without him. He's not a one-man show altogether, but yeah, he's the guy. He's the straw that stirs the drink, as they say.
It is.
21 points a game. Justice Brantley for Catskill averaging 19 points a game. Then you go to Cole Ackerman with 24 points a game, or close to 24 points a game. Had a few games this season over 30 points. But you can't go on scoring alone. That's the easy way out. Okay, who's your leading scorer in the league? This guy's the MVP. So, but Cole's certainly deserving as well of some mention. Justice Brantley and Russ Beck. A sleeper candidate for me to this point, Justin Worth of Catskill. Yep. Justin's had a couple of double-doubles and has been a tower of strength in the middle for Catskill. And I think going forward, you're going to hear a lot more about him as well.
I think a highlight game for Justin Worth within that holiday tournament against the likes of Double A.
Oh, you had Johnny Coleman in the first game, and then you had Ravina in the championship game.
And he actually didn't play in that tournament. And then you saw they had.
Oh, you're talking about the. That's right. You're talking about the McKeel, not the McKeel, but the Curvin Cup.
Curvin Cup.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He had an outstanding initial round game.
Right.
And he put himself on the map in terms of MVP conversation. Because you don't think when you think of the Catskill Cats, I mean, Brantley goes right up there, especially after last year's 50-point affair against Chatham, who he happens to be playing this Saturday at Chatham.
Panther Pride Day.
Panthers, be alert. He's coming for another 50. But Justin Worth is so valuable to that team, and especially given his height and on both sides of the ball. I mean, he is really. I got to give it to you. He's definitely a dark horse candidate.
Yeah, had the 29-point game against Schenectady. That's the game you were talking about. And again, you're talking about a very, very good Class AA team. He got 29 against. So yeah, I think he's one of those dark horse candidates we talk about.
Definitely. And then moving on to the girls, it's a bit of a foregone conclusion that Ava Fitzmaurice is probably going to be the MVP over there. She's on top of Section 2 in scoring. She's
26 a game?
Right, 26 a game. She's most likely going to win the MVP. How about a couple other girls spread around the league that could be vying for a first-team All-Star?
Jolie Polson.
Jolie Polson has put on a show this year, and if you, in our previews this year, you could have polled anybody in the Patroon Conference in terms of coaches, and you'd ask Jolie Polson, Cara Durham, what do you think she's going to have this season? And they'd probably give you a puzzled look because last year she was on the JV team. This year she's hovering around 15, 16 points per game. I mean, better than their leading scorer the past 2 seasons, Michaela Phillips. So she has come on and played an extraordinary role for a team that is contending for the Patroon title. I mean, they're only a game and a half out of Hudson and Greenville. And then you look at, I think, the dynamic duo of Lindsay Darling and Clinique Robinson, who have
Exactly.
come on strong for Catskill. They're playing exceptional basketball right now with a very young team.
They started off slowly, but they are starting to get it into gear now. And with the youngster Janae Brantley, I know we're going to talk about some youngsters to watch out for too. She's certainly one of them, being just a 7th grader and playing a key role for that Catskill team. And as Coach Quinn, who was a guest of ours on this show a couple of weeks ago, has said, I think the best is yet to come for this team. They like I say, they started out a little slow, but I think they're starting to hit the stride now, and the best is yet to come for the Catskill Cats girls basketball team.
And speaking of young players, Janae Brantley we just mentioned, but we also have a number of other girls from Hudson, Catskill. Who are some of the other girls that we have looking good this year?
Chris Quinn has talked highly about Ashley Shook, along with Brantley and Mary Kate Glass. Glass had a really good game against Coxsackie Athens this season to help the Catskill Cats get their first win of the year, and she could shoot the long ball. She's definitely got the talent to get it out there, and Shook is very good with her ball handling skills.
And then on the Hudson side of the river, we've got a couple of youngsters for Hudson. You have Jada Alert, Deja Buford. Both, I think, are going to be heard from in the future as well for Coach Bryce Island.
Definitely. On the boys' side, there are, like we said, a number of really, really good boys basketball players,
Where do you begin?
freshmen and sophomores. Let's skip through, again, stick with Hudson and tell some of those guys that are coming up.
Well, first and foremost was Willie Jones, who came on as an 8th grader last year at the tail end of the season, then started as a freshman this year. Unfortunately for the Blue Hawks, Willie has moved out of the area over the Christmas break and is no longer with the team, but that does not mean the cupboard is bare when it comes to young, talented players for the Blue Hawks. We have, starting forward, we have Daquan Griffin, who has come on, is one of the team's leading scorers, has hit double digits on a number of occasions for the Blue Hawks. And then, of course, one of my favorites, sophomore Levon Fernandez. Levon just needed a chance to show what he could do when he comes in off the bench and always provides a team with a spark, but they really needed him to step up big time in that McKeel Christian tournament over the holiday break, and step up he did. In the game against Cohoes, dropped 32 points and led the Blue Hawks to a big 30-point victory. So remember the name Levon Fernandez, my man Bonds.
That's right.
You're going to hear a lot about him in the future.
And another name to remember, Damian Fiducia.
Oh,
Over in
You wanna
Green
take this
County.
Well, look out, for the entire Patroon Conference. Yes, Greenville may be losing the great Cole Ackerman, but Damian Fiducia is coming right up the path,
No
and
doubt.
the kid can shoot, he can get to the paint, he can rebound, he can play defense, he's a complete package, and he's only a freshman.
only a freshman.
You got to think about that. This kid is talented, and even Cole Ackerman gave his seal of approval, saying that, Damian might get his record now that he holds the school record in scoring.
Yeah.
Obviously now Ava actually holds it,
Right.
but in terms of the men's side, it is Cole Ackerman's record.
yep.
And to give a special shout out to Germantown and their sophomore sharpshooter Brian Bathrick. No field goals inside of the arc this year, but he has played a key factor beyond the arc for the Germantown Clippers and won them several games with his sharpshooting ability.
Shout out to another great sophomore on the Catskill side, Devon Hay, 6'5", a kid that can step outside, shoot the three as well. He's a force inside, Henry Hayes youngster, and I'm telling you, comes from good bloodlines. He's going to be another standout. So again, you're talking about sophomores barely made varsity rosters just a few short years ago. Now we're talking about not only sophomores but freshmen and on occasion 8th graders, and in Catskill's case, a 7th grader for the Catskill girls, Janae Brantley. So youth is being served in the Patroon Conference, no doubt.
Now, with all that youth, I think you're going to see a lot more 1,000-point scorers. This season alone, we have Cole Ackerman, Ava Fitzmaurice. Russ Beck is pretty close. He's getting there. He's about 95, 96 points away. At the college level, Tanisha Edge she's about 109 points away.
For Columbia
She's going to get it for Columbia Green. So there's a number of 1,000-point scorers. Taconic Hills only has one, Sam Slump, back in the early 2000s. But with these guys playing at a freshman level, you're going to see a lot more 1,000-point scorers. You're going to see a lot of guys that are really putting point totals up, and probably on both sides of the ball.
No doubt about it. As we mentioned, Damian Fiducia, just a freshman, who's already averaging basically double figures as a 14-year-old 9th grader. What's he going to be averaging by the time he's a senior? He's a force already. By the time he's a senior, he's probably going to be well over 1,000 points.
You think of Janae Brantley, she's starting as a 7th grader. She has plenty of time to reach 1,000 points and has plenty of time to develop into a top-tier guard in the Patroon Conference and a force to be reckoned with.
No doubt about it.
Now, talking about some big scorers, best in the area for you guys, and we're talking
All
Doesn't have to be
Section
Section 2. We can push a little bit
Okay.
down south if
All
you
right.
want. Who are some guys to look for towards the end of the season, going into state tournaments? Who should people really be looking for to have great college careers, potentially professional careers?
Well, I can read your mind. We both going to say JG3. Joe Girard III from Glens Falls is averaging 48 points a game. I didn't stutter. 48 points a game. And we're not talking in 2 games. We're talking about 10 games that he's played already.
Right.
This young man is almost beyond belief. He can stop and pop from anywhere and will. He'll take a shot from anywhere, just inside half court. He'll let it fly, and more often than not, hardly a ripple in the net. Just an unbelievable scorer. And of course, to the south of us, Saugerties, just an 8th grader. Again, a force of nature here in Dior Johnson, who is a tremendous player. And rumor has it that this might be his last year at Saugerties. He'll probably go on to a prep school following this season, but who knows? But get out and see this kid while you can. He is certainly an unbelievable talent. We've seen him, bits and pieces of him anyway, in the Columbia Green Summer League, and even then, when he's not going, full bore, I mean, you can tell the talent this kid possesses. So he's going to be fun to watch in the coming years. Hopefully, if he does even go to a prep school, it's in the area, so we can all still get out and see him. But you'll see this kid on TV one day.
Let's mention one more player that we've been fascinated with since we watched him last year in the Catskill opening season tournament.
Right.
That's Middleburg's Peyton Olson.
You love Olson, man.
Olson is their version of Cole Ackerman. He can shoot. He can score. He had, I believe, 50 points this year in
60.
60. That's right, 60. Shortchanging him. And then Middleburg beat Greenville in a clash between Ackerman and Olson.
But held him to 34 that game.
Yeah, Olson got him. Olson got him. But he's second in the section in scoring with 34.6 points per game. And he will definitely do some damage in the sectional tournament in the C's. And if, Dane, I'm sure he wants revenge against Middleburg because that was a very close game. And I think with Greenville slowly, getting their feet under them with this young nucleus, Middleburg, watch out, and Peyton Olson. It's going to be a very fun game with fireworks between 2 excellent scorers.
Look forward to it.
Definitely.
Hopefully we'll see it.
Now, second half of the season, we have some big games coming up. Immediately, you mentioned Panther Pride Day, Catskill. It's going to Chatham. It's always a big deal.
Always.
But what else do we have coming up?
Well, of course, we've got Saturday, January 27th. That's Columbia Green Community College. That's when the Coaches versus Cancer basketball get-together happens. And it's also this Sunday, the 28th, a few teams are playing as well. But the big one that night will be Hudson and Catskill, the rematch. Hudson, of course, winning that first meeting over in Catskill back on December 18th. And Catskill's out for a little get back in that one. And now with Hudson having come back down to earth a little bit after losing one of their leading scorers in Willie Jones, who moved from the area. They had a couple kids that had to sit out so they could work on their grades a little bit. So Catskill will definitely not only be looking to avenge that loss, but to show that, hey, we can win this league too. And they can. I mean, if they win out and beat Hudson, and even if Hudson wins out, they'll be tied for first at the end of the season, both 15-1, and they could share the title. I know that's, as they say, kind of like kissing your sister, but hey, a piece of the title is better than none, and both teams are deserving. I mean, Hudson 7-0 as of this taping, 8-1 in the league, or 8-1 overall, I should say, and Catskill 7-1 in the league. They're only lost to Hudson, and 10-2 overall. So two quality programs, 2 quality, well-coached teams, and I for one look forward to it. I know a lot of other people do too.
Now, who would you say are the key players in that second matchup?
Yusuf Abushwire.
Yeah.
I mean,
He wasn't there the first time.
No, he wasn't. He twisted an ankle a couple of days before in a game against Coxsackie Athens, and we didn't know about it until game time.
Right.
I saw him on crutches, on the bench, and that's a big loss for them. I don't want to say Catskill would have won that game had he been there, but I think it would have definitely been a different kind of game. He brings so much to the table, and I think that he is definitely going to be able to make a difference in that game. Again, not saying that that puts Catskill over the top, but with Hudson, losing one of their leading scorers, and Willie Jones moving out of the area, and Yusuf Abushwire coming back. You put 2 and 2 together, and you think, well, Catskill's got to be considered the favorite in that game. But definitely Yusuf Abushwire. I think Levon Fernandez, again, is going to be a key. Can he step up like he did against Cohoes? Can he step up in that game and lead Hudson to victory? we'll see. Definitely one of those games that you mark on your calendar, as you always do when Catskill and Hudson hook up. But this one in particular.
And that's a 6:30 game. There's
Right.
games all day.
Yes.
If you want to see that game, get there early because they're probably going to close the doors. It's
Yeah.
always standing room only over
No
at Columbia
question.
Green.
And it's girls and guys as well.
Right.
So you can
Yeah.
see Hudson Catskill girls go at it again as well. It's going to be fun.
Definitely. Now, before we leave, I know you wanted to give a little plug to our guy Rashad Barksdale's tournament.
And Rashad, yeah, he's got his Run This Town charity basketball event coming up at Hudson High School in 2 months. March 16th is the date. There's all sorts of things going on. You've got youth, boys and girls all-star games. You've got the big celebrity game that T.O. played in last year. My man Manny Love, remember Manny Love?
Yeah.
You gotta love him. You know, you have that going on. You have halftime festivities, including a celebrity slam dunk contest. I say celebrity because I was thinking of entering it myself, but I don't want to show off. I'm not that type of guy,
Right.
But it should be a fun time, and you got to mark that down on your calendar as well. March 16th, Hudson High School, the Run This Town charity basketball event, all for the benefit of Rashad Barksdale's It's Okay to Dream Foundation.
Right.
Check it out.
And he's been doing this for quite a few years.
He has.
Great person, great guy, great athlete.
They come no better.
They don't. All right, well, thank you for joining us on HV 360's The Press Box, presented by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union.